Is there any excursion more iconic and desired by wildlife lovers than an African safari? Every year, thousands of photographers and animal enthusiasts flock to the grassland reserves of the southern part of the continent to see for themselves the marvelous endemic wildlife this vast land has to offer. Whether you're looking for giant mammals, colourful birds, or unusual reptiles, it can all be found here. Hippopotamuses wallow in the mud while vultures soar overhead, above vast herds of gazelles and the crocodiles that may be laying in wait for them at the water's edge. Some safaris, however, focus on finding a particular set of animals that characterise the very feel of the African wilds. Ones that are breathtaking beyond any other, the Big Five. The Big Five include 5 of the most charismatic megafaunal animals from across the continent: the African lion, the African leopard, the black or white rhinoceros, the African bush elephant, and the African buffalo. While this roster is now sought out primarily for the purposes of tourism, the concept of the Big Five is rooted in sinister territory. Big game hunters coined the term, referring to the 5 African animals that are most difficult to kill during a hunt. Thankfully, we appear to be moving away from blood sport in favour of respectfully watching these animals in their natural habitats. But some damage has already been done. Most of the species on the Big Five list are endangered, and conservation efforts are underway to right the wrongs of poaching and big game hunting. In today's video, we will be heading into the heart of Africa, specifically countries such as Kenya, Malawi, South Africa, Tanzania and Zimbabwe, where all these animals can be found together to meet the Big Five. Join us as we come face to face with leopards and walk with herds of elephants, and that's just scratching the surface. The specific subspecies of African buffalo that sits within the Big Five is the Cape buffalo, Syncerus caffa. It's the only bovid in the Big Five, and many would consider it to be the most dangerous, despite lacking the claws, teeth or tusks of the rest of the members. What the buffalo does have, however, is 2 long, sharp, curved horns that sit atop its head. Buffaloes that feel threatened or cornered by humans have been known to ambush and attack them, using their body weight and headgear to overpower a threat. Colloquially, the buffalo has been dubbed the Black Death or the Widowmaker. After hippopotamuses and crocodiles, they kill more people in Africa than any other large animal. Despite their docile appearance and herbivorous diets, they are not to be taken lightly. As well as being the only bovid, it's also the only animal of the Big Five that isn't considered endangered or threatened by the IUCN. It's not completely off the hook, it's classed as near threatened, but this species is not quite as at risk as, say, rhinoceroses or elephants. African buffaloes can be identified by their bulky yet long bodies, which often appear to be a glossy black in the savanna sunlight. Adults can range in size from 1.7 to 3.4 meters, or from 5.6 to 11.2 feet. It's a stocky, powerful animal that can reach weights up to 870 kilograms, or 1,900 pounds. The Cape buffalo is the largest of the African buffalo subspecies and can be found in large patches across eastern and southern Africa, from Ethiopia in the north to South Africa in the south. The horns are perhaps the most spectacular feature of this large mammal, and typically form when the buffalo reaches between the ages of 5 and 6. They harden when the buffalo reaches the age of 8, and can be used as an effective deterrent against the numerous predators of the African savannas. When a buffalo herd is threatened by a predator, such as a lion, they form a tight defensive circle, with the calves gathered in the middle. Lions find it very difficult to breach this impenetrable wall of muscle and horn, and buffaloes have even been recorded killing lions that attempt to hunt them. They have been seen in the wild chasing lions up trees and preventing them from coming down for hours, and will work as a community to mob threats to their defenseless calves. Buffalo bulls also use their horns to spar with one another. This can be to reinforce dominance, engage in prey, or to attack a male threatening the herd. Sparring matches rarely become violent, but can be bloody when they do. The herd size of African buffaloes varies from as little as 20 to 30 animals to massive migrations exceeding 1,000. The herds constantly change and adapt, forming smaller subgroups with others. African buffaloes prefer grassland habitats with cover and can often be seen inhabiting wooded savannas, open forests, mountainous regions, and swamps. They tend to stay around areas that can provide constant and reliable access to water, but are not particularly fussy in the kinds of plants they eat, which has made them an extremely successful species across the continent. Their robust teeth allow them to graze on coarse grasses, mowing down the tallest parts of the plant to allow specialized grazers to move in after them. They manage to cut down areas of grassland exceedingly quickly, using their powerful tongue and tough incisors to eat as much as possible in one sitting. Once they mow down one area, they will typically move to another site in the immediate vicinity, having depleted the best grazing spots. The biggest threat to African buffaloes is indeed humans, and they have been a prime target for trophy hunters across recent history. Conservation charities have managed to stop the buffalo from becoming seriously endangered via the implementation of anti-poaching patrols, resource management programs, and education. Around 513,000 savanna-dwelling buffaloes are thought to live in the wild today, but this number is slowly decreasing. Thankfully, however, some populations of buffaloes are extremely stable, and as long as these groups persist, buffaloes will be able to recover to roam and graze across the savanna for a long time to come. Black and white rhinoceroses are perhaps the biggest victims of the poaching and hunting element of their position in the Big Five. The black rhinoceros is more highly prized by poachers in Africa, and as a result is now classed as critically endangered by the IUCN. While both species are targeted often, the white rhinoceros is classed as near threatened overall, thanks to extensive conservation work. Rhinoceroses are poached as trophies in Africa, and their horns are sought for traditional Chinese medicine. Rhinoceros horn has no medicinal qualities, however, and so the slaughter of these magnificent animals is needless and in vain. So rare are some subspecies of black rhinoceros that specially employed bodyguards have been hired to ensure the last few individuals don't fall victim to poachers. Armed with rifles and tactical gear, these men watch over the most vulnerable animals on the savanna day and night to ensure their survival. Larger adult black rhinoceroses measure around 3¼ meters, or 12.3 feet, while large white rhinoceroses can measure up to 4 meters, or just over 13 feet. Like the buffalo, the most recognizable features of a rhinoceros are the horns. Both rhinoceros have two, but they are often much more pronounced and broad in the white rhinoceros. Both species are covered in thick layered skin that protects the animal from sharp plants in the rough, grassy habitats in which they live. Being so thick-skinned, they often find themselves bearing the brunt of parasites, such as ticks and mites, which crawl all over the body. Egrets and oxpeckers will often perch on the backs of rhinoceroses in order to pick off these parasites for themselves. Rhinoceroses are odd-toed ungulate, with 3 digits on each foot. They are most closely related to tapirs and horses, who sit within the order Perissodactyla. White rhinoceroses are grazing herbivores, preferring open environments with a wealth of dry, tough plant matter. They tend to prefer the shortest of the grasses and spend most of their day foraging for food. The rest of the day is spent resting, socializing, wallowing in the mud, and traveling. Black rhinoceroses, rather, are browsers, who prefer feeding from the branches of low-growing trees and bushes. Their diets include branches, shoots, fruits, and legumes, but they will also graze when browsing isn't available. Black rhinoceroses are solitary, while white rhinoceroses are much more social. Males typically live alone, but females will travel in groups known as crashes, which can contain up to 14 rhinos. Safety is afforded in numbers, and using their excellent sense of hearing, they are able to detect oncoming danger before their young are under threat. There are a few simple ways to tell the difference between white and black rhinoceroses, despite the two species being similar in color, as well as being different sizes. The rhinoceroses have very differently shaped mouths. Black rhinoceroses have a prehensile upper lip that helps them strip leaves from the branches of trees, while white rhinoceroses have broad, square-shaped lips for grazing. It is in fact this difference that led to the white rhinoceros obtaining its English name. The word white is actually a misinterpretation of the word wide, the Afrikaans word for wide. The first English settlers in South Africa are believed to have misheard the Afrikaans speakers and named the rhinoceros for what they heard. Adult black and white rhinoceroses, given their size and bulk, have no natural predators other than human poachers. Young rhinos, however, can be vulnerable to attack in the early years of their lives, falling prey to big cats, wild dogs and crocodiles, amongst other predators. These animals will often be quick to back down when an adult rhinoceros appears to put an end to their hunt. Even animals as big as lions will not tangle with a fully grown enraged mother and soon leave the calf alone. Sadly, however, rhinoceroses have been targeted across Africa by humans and are waning in number due to habitat loss and poaching. Charities such as Save the Rhino International help to conserve the world's 5 rhinoceros species, not just in Africa, by helping to tighten local laws on the hunting of these majestic animals. They often work directly with the animals in the wild to understand the best ways to protect them going forward, as well as working with local rescue teams to relocate and rehabilitate vulnerable rhinos. On top of this, many welfare-focused zoos around the world are engaged in the fight to re-establish rhino populations in Africa. Chester Zoo, Basel Zoo, and Blair Drummond Safari Park are among a few examples, with captive breeding efforts and education work helping to make a real difference. While the leopard is the smallest animal species in the Big Five, it is by far one of the most efficient predators in Africa, and is definitely not to be taken lightly. In prehistoric times, leopards were one of the top predators of ancient humans evolving on the African savannas, but as the millennia have come and gone, they are growing steadily more wary of us. If approached and outnumbered, leopards will often flee from human activity, which combined with their camouflage blonde coat covered in dark rosettes, has made them notoriously hard to see in the wild. On top of this, the cat is primarily nocturnal, hunting under the cover of darkness to maximize its chances of success. Despite its flighty behavior and difficulty to spot, leopards worldwide are classed as vulnerable on the IUCN Red List. African leopards, the nominate subspecies of leopard, are found across much of the southern continent. Historically, they were commonplace across North Africa and Asia, but fragmented populations exist across the two regions, following excessive persecution and overhunting. Within Africa, leopards tend to favor a range of habitats, including savannas, mountain forests, and open bushland. Historically, it could be found in dense rainforests too, but this is now a rare occurrence. In these lands, they have adapted to a wide variety of prey, and can take animals as small as beetles and as large as the 900 kilogram or 2,000 pound eland antelopes. They are by no means fussy eaters, and will also target hyraxes, hares, reptiles, rodents, birds, and monkeys. When leopards are hunting large hoofed mammals, they can afford intervals of 12 to 13 days between kills, supplementing their diet with smaller animals in between. Food is often hoisted up into a tree to eat out of the reach of ground-dwelling carnivores or scavengers. They are therefore very strong animals capable of carrying impressive weights. Among the largest animals observed being carried into a tree by a leopard are young giraffes, which can weigh between 2 to 3 times as much as the big cat itself. Despite their tendency to take large prey, leopards themselves are relatively lightweight. They average around 58 kilograms, or 128 pounds in weight, and usually measure just under 1 to just under 2 meters, or roughly 3 to 6 feet in length. Males are significantly larger than females, and maximum weights of around 90 kilograms or 200 pounds have been recorded in the wild. Leopards are not social animals and tend to live and hunt entirely alone. The only times a leopard will live with another are during mating or when rearing cubs. They are in fact the least social of all big cat species, and it is considered rare to encounter more than one in the wild at any given time. They maintain their own territories, marking them with scent and claw marks along tree trunks and rocks to warn others to stay away. Females typically give birth to around 2 to 4 cubs in one litter and will depart from one another around the 2-year mark. These leopards will then go and establish their own territories, find their own mates, and ideally produce the next generation of cubs. The biggest threat to leopards on the plains of Africa today is the persecution they have faced for their involvement in the hunting of livestock. Hungry leopards don't understand that farmers don't want them on their land, and when they inevitably hunt their goats or sheep, the farmers retaliate. Sometimes leopards are killed without even having killed livestock. They are often blamed for the deaths of animals they didn't cause and are hunted down ruthlessly as a result. If humans aren't killing leopards for perceived revenge, they're killing them as trophies. In countries such as Tanzania, leopards are killed en masse, leading to population fragmentation and an imbalance of males and females within areas. Hunting leopards is now banned in Zambia and Botswana, but other countries need to follow suit if we are to regain numbers of this enigmatic and powerful big cat. As human industry progresses further into the heart of Africa, leopards find themselves in a shrinking world. The amount of viable hunting ground available to leopards is decreasing as humans remove tracts of forest and raise grasslands for agriculture. These causes have led to leopards becoming locally extinct in their former ranges across Mauritania, Togo, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Gambia, and Lesotho. Despite our strained relationship with leopards over the years, these big cats feature prominently in folklore and culture in the regions they can be found. In Benin, leopards have historically been associated with royalty, engraved into sculptures and art to be linked to the king, since the leopard has long been considered to be the king of the forest. There are some reports of the people of Benin parading leopards around their towns and villages as ceremonial mascots. The leopards were sometimes sacrificed as offerings to the gods too. The Ashanti people of Ghana similarly associate the leopard with their leaders. Only the king of the Ashanti was permitted to sit on an ornate stool made of leopard skin to denote his power and regality. Outside of Africa, there are historical records of the Romans using leopards to hunt and fight in arenas, and several leopards were held in King John of England's menagerie at the Tower of London in the 13th century. These big cats have appeared in books, films, games, and popular culture, and hopefully will continue to do so for a long time. There is no other animal in the world seen to be as regal and majestic as a lion. As the largest mammalian predators in Africa, few animals are sought after by safari tourists as a pride of lions, and to an extent this creature is the animal kingdom. African lions are a sexually dimorphic species, with males boasting a huge mane that runs around their neck, along the top of their back, and underneath their torso. Adult males can reach just over 2 meters or 6.8 feet in length, with the tail adding on nearly an extra meter or 36 inches to their size. They can weigh up to 225 kilograms or just short of 500 pounds and are second only to the tiger in terms of mass and size amongst cats. The skeletal musculature of a lion is notoriously immense. These muscles make up almost 60% of their entire body weight. This makes them the most muscular of all animal species, and they need it to be able to bring down their large mammalian prey. The lion is a generalist apex predator, capable of hunting a wide variety of animals in the environment in which it lives. It tends to favor hoofed mammals, specifically plains zebra, blue wildebeest, and gemsbok, but will take animals as dangerous as an African buffalo and as large as a giraffe. The only animals it will give a wide berth to are hippopotamuses, rhinoceroses, and elephants, Even they are a bit too much for the ruler of the animal kingdom. Lions are by no means fussy eaters, however, and will readily take smaller animals such as warthogs, monkeys, hyraxes, small antelope, hares, birds and reptiles. They are ambush predators, working as a calculated pack to bring down animals that would be difficult to kill alone. Lionesses do the majority of the hunting, while the male establishes territory and protects the pride from potential usurpers. When hunting, lionesses will each adopt a role, either flanking or chasing the prey animal until it tires. They use the bite and hold technique of killing their prey, using their massive forelimbs to hold their victim in place while delivering a continuous, deep bite to the neck. They are not built for large-scale chases and will aim to get as close as they can to their target before springing into action. Lions live in prides that can range from as few as 3 to as many as 40 individuals. Most average out at around 15 lions, and most, if not all of the cats within a pride are related. Usually one male presides over the pride, but he may allow related males, or those that don't pose a threat to his rule, to stay. When male lions reach maturity, they will normally be ousted from their pride to go it alone, often forming coalitions with one another for safety. Lions within coalitions such as Scarface, who we have covered on this channel before, may attempt to overthrow the leaders of neighboring prides to usurp their position at the top. If they are successful, they may hold their position for their entire lives, but such security is rarely guaranteed among these big cats. Fights over territory and males can be extremely violent and often lead to lions being seriously wounded or killed in the process. If a male lion successfully manages to take over a pride, his first act will be to kill all the cubs within that pride to encourage females to mate again. This means that all new offspring within a pride will be his, and his alone. Like leopards, lions are listed as vulnerable on the IUCN's Red List. Conservation organizations have managed to limit the decimation of lion numbers over time by establishing safe zones in nature reserves where lions are free to roam without the threat of poachers hunting them for trophies. Wildlife tourism, when carried out responsibly and respectfully, can be a great boon to lions in several southern African countries, as money made from safari tours can be invested back into conservation efforts, allowing numbers to grow in the long run. Lions are most notably at threat from habitat loss. As humans expand into the grasslands and forests of Africa, lions rely on massive territories and large prey animals, and if these begin to decline in a given area, the lions will too. Moreover, animals hunted by lions, such as buffalo and zebras, are also sought after as trophies. This can lead to lions going hungry within their territories if overhunting or poaching occurs in a region. Also, like leopards, lions will be persecuted for the deaths of livestock, even if they didn't cause the deaths themselves. This conflict can lead to a hate relationship where lions become more aggressive and wary around humans, while the humans are more inclined to kill additional lions as acts of vengeance. The fifth and final member of the Big Five is the largest land animal currently living on Earth, the African bush elephant. Fully grown bull elephants can reach truly immense sizes, up to 3.3 meters or 11 feet tall at the shoulder, and an overall body mass of up to 7 tons. They are easily among the most beloved and charismatic animals worldwide, and, understandably, people travel to sub-Saharan Africa from all over the world to catch a glimpse of them in the wild. Bush elephants can be found in scattered populations across much of East Africa and in some scattered spots across the north. They prefer open grasslands, but will also inhabit open woodlands, wetlands, and farmland across the regions they inhabit. They are browsers, but will also take high amounts of grass, needing around 150 kilograms or 330 pounds of food each day. They will also take herbs, tubers, leaves, bark and creepers, and in captivity will be fed a wide range of fruits and vegetables. Elephants are incredibly social animals and often can be found traveling in herds. Typically, These herds will be composed of female adults and young of both sexes, led by an old, experienced matriarch. Young females may stay as members of the herd for their entire lives, while males, when they reach maturity, may branch out on their own, or join small bachelor herds of just a few individuals. During the mating season, male elephants can become exceedingly dangerous as they enter a state known as musth, characterized by heightened testosterone levels. Bull elephants can become extremely aggressive and destructive in this time, posing risks to other elephants, especially calves. When a female becomes pregnant, she will carry her calf for around 22 months, the longest gestation period of any mammal. Baby elephants are born roughly 1 meter, or 3 feet tall at the shoulder, can weigh up to 120 kilograms, or 260 pounds, and are able to walk within a few hours of entering the world. Elephants are intelligent animals and have often been observed displaying their intelligence with members of their own species and humans. They demonstrate the ability to recognize themselves and members of their own herd. They cooperate to overcome challenges and find food, and they are capable of using tools, manipulating sticks and twigs with their dexterous trunks. They do indeed have impressive memories, and can retain information about locations, individuals, and events for decades. They have been seen comforting each other in times of distress, using unique vocalizations to soothe those close to them, and also engage in play behaviors. Much like dolphins, pigs, and great apes, they are considered to be some of the most intelligent animals to have evolved on our planet, and scientists are still learning more and more about what they are really capable of. Despite their intelligence, elephants have been the target of human atrocities as far back as historical records go. Elephants were used as tanky, intimidating mounts in ancient armies, and were also used to transport heavy material in construction projects. Elephants have been unfairly forced into stage shows and entertainment in circuses across the world. And most damaging, humans have historically poached them for their magnificent tusks. When an elephant is killed, poachers will inevitably sever its tusks, which will be sold on the black market. Elephant ivory is gathered in huge quantities and sold to the highest bidder, where it may take the form of jewelry, an ornament, traditional Chinese medicine, or furniture. Elephant tusks have been used to make chess pieces, piano keys, and knife handles over the years too. Ivory cannot be obtained without harming the elephant, and this has become one of the most serious issues in conservation history. African bush elephants are listed as endangered on the IUCN Red List, and are still at risk today. Thankfully, the future may not be bleak for these amazing animals. In Africa, conservationists have been helping to protect elephant populations from poaching by setting up reserves where elephants can be protected and monitored. Criminals who attempt to hunt elephants are persecuted, and the networks selling ivory on the black market can be disrupted and shut down. Via the use of education campaigns, awareness can be raised about the risks posed by buying and selling ivory online, and overall demand can go down in the process. Hopefully, with all these efforts and more, we can still enjoy a world where elephants are free from harm and plentiful in number. The Big Five represent a shift in mindset and attitude towards the natural world. Formerly a term used to denote how difficult these animals were to hunt and kill, we now rate them based on our desire to see them in their natural habitat. Hopefully, attitudes towards the rest of the world's animals will follow suit. As poaching is stamped out and targeted, this is definitely a possibility. With luck and conservation efforts, these animals will live to see their legions of fans for a long time ahead.